Good evening. Welcome to South Windsor Wellness. My name is Kathleen Kiley, and we have our guest Chuck Oates tonight. He's going to be talking to us about aging. He is an author of Making Your Home Senior Friendly, a guide for family and friends. He's also an educator and a consultant here in the community and also for the United Nations. So welcome, Chuck.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for being here. I'm almost a little hesitant to ask what even got you into aging and becoming the author of this book, because I know that aging has really become a concern for a lot of people our age for taking care of their parents.
Well, actually, it started off several years ago when my grandmother moved up from Long Island to a retirement home, to a new thing called the assisted living. Or independent living. It was new about 15 years ago, thereabouts. So I became very, she was to Farmington, and I became very versed with the whole concept of this new retirement home. It's not a convalescent like we're used to. It's like this independent living, assisted living, and continuing care facilities. Yes. So I became versed with it to the point where I was in the evenings selling units or helping them promote and market.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I became very.
It's meaning their apartments?
Well, the apartments, yeah. Promoting them in the evenings and giving tours at appropriate times, whatever, and trying to help them market it, because I thought it was a good deal. Because it focused on quality of life, and so that was my introduction to aging in the new realm of these properties. And about 5 years ago, I grew up in West Hartford. And my parents were in the what I call the Oaks Homestead, where I grew up. And I sat down with them. I said, gee, folks, what do you want to do? Do you want to move to a retirement home? Do you want to stay put? Talk to me. Yeah. And they said, we want to age in place.
What does that mean?
We want to stay put.
Yeah.
And age at home. And actually, it's aging in place is now the buzzword of the industry of healthcare and home care. It's preferences. So basically, about 5 years ago, I went around the house where I grew up, and I tried to enhance it. Not renovate it or redecorate per se, but just enhance it with assisted devices and techniques and approaches to make it safer and secure for them in their aging process without sacrificing dignity or respect for them. So that's sort of then I wrote the book because of my experiences. And my introduction to aging in place actually began years ago with the disability industry. Let me tell you a brief story. I worked for ShopRite, the grocery chain, as an HR guy, human resource guy. And they came to me and they said, Chuck, we can't staff a store in Brookfield, Connecticut, because no one in Brookfield, Connecticut works in a grocery store. I said, didn't anybody think of this when they put this new super Stop and Shop, or in this case ShopRite? No, they said, fix it. Go out there and fix it, Chuck. So I went out there and I hit the pavement, and I talked to anybody with a pulse. Of course, my whole attitude was, if you got a pulse, what does it take for you to work? Yeah, I want to talk to you if you've got a pulse. What would it take for you to work for our company? And anyway, to make a long story short, so I spoke to Northeast Asians, Southeast Asians, ex-cons, seniors, juniors, homemakers, students. As I said, if you had a pulse, I wanted to talk with you. I ended up talking with the touch point at this period of early in my career was I plugged into the workers with disabilities. And I remember talking to this one gentleman who said to me, Chuck, if you haven't noticed, I have one arm. I said, I've not only noticed, but supposedly so let's just think, maybe if I create a position for you where one arm is mandatory, two is optional. And he says, I don't like people. I mean, we're working with ShopRite here. There's a lot of customers and people. So he says, I don't like people. So of course I said to him, how do you feel about lettuce and tomatoes? He says, I can't get there. I said, we'll pick you up. I'm not that I'm like twisting this guy's arm, but if he wanted to work, I'm giving him an opportunity, right? So I was able to staff the store with this creative recruitment. This is like years ago, before diversity was like mandated and all that sort of thing.